I did bring the trusty glasses. Remember these? Did anybody see the combine? Did you see that? Did you see the shot when I was like going like that? I had to call Manti and apologize immediately thereafter. It was before he even finished the race. I mean, come on. I mean, these guys. Stan, you're awesome. You're unbelievable. Thank you very much. What a great friend you are. All the huddle coaches, the local, regional FCA coaches, could you stand up, please? Met a bunch of you guys already. Just stand up, would you? Coaches, are they here? Mark, are they here? Please give them a hand. Yeah, here, okay. Stand up. Because that's where the real coaching is done. You know, it's not done in the National Football League. It's not done in Super Bowls. The real coaching is done right on the level that we're talking about right here. Thanks, Mark, for what you're building. And it's done through FCA. It's done through sports a lot of times. It's done through a lot of things. It's done in schools, it's done in classrooms. But man, it's done in sports so much. So many things in our society have been, I guess, foreshadowed by what's been accomplished in sports. In relationships, right? People coming together and are just people growing together. When I was in high school, the Super Bowl is incredible in the sense that they go back and they like search your past. I think it's like running for office or something like that. And they delve into your deep, dark past to find out what they can find out. You know, what do your high school buddies say about you? And there was this one guy named Greg Arrington, who I remembered. Greg Arrington, we played high school together. Our team was about half and half, kind of a mixed race team. Greg was from, as he says, the other side of the tracks. I know we were both from the other side of the tracks, as I remember it. But I had a car, Jim and I had a car. It was an old 65 Comet. Remember the Comet, you older people? It was like a light brown color. Our friends called it the Vomit, okay? But it was a great car, but we were the only one that we had a car. So I didn't know this, but Greg, he went on to Eastern Michigan. I knew he went on to Cornell. Okay? Graduated with honors from Cornell. Now he's in Michigan, and he runs a multi-million dollar company. He's the CEO and president of a huge company. So they called him up and they asked him what was kind of the key in his life. And he didn't have a lot going at the time. And he said, way back when, there was a guy on the team who asked him to go to an FCA camp the summer before his junior year. I did not remember that. I guess I was the guy who did that. I guess I just wanted somebody to go with. And about 4 or 5 of us went to this camp, kind of like we were hearing about here earlier, and it changed his life, and it started to change my life too. Then I got to college, and it was Campus Crusade. All right, you guys know Campus Crusade? Campus Crusade was involved with our football team. And one of the wide receivers, Kurt Custer, he used to beat up on me daily. He'd beat up on me at practice, then he'd put his arm around me and take me to Bible study later that night. His way of saying sorry, I think. I don't know. Thanks, Kurt. I mean, this guy can be a Christian. This big physical stud who was beating me up every day can be a Christian. There must be something pretty special about that. So I became a Christian. And then he still was beating up on me every day. It didn't work. And then got into college and got into coaching, and you kind of weave your way. Like it kind of we said in the thing, everybody's in a different place with quote unquote religion or faith or whatever you want to call it. And you get close to God, you get away from God. Things start going bad, you get close to God again. Things start going good, you kind of forget. And ran into a guy named Craig Verstig, who's on our staff now, and a guy named Mark Householder, who's the president for Athletes in Action. And we had weekly Bible studies every Thursday morning at Perkins. And we showed up most of the time. Sometimes we left Mark hanging. And that changed my life. And that's when I finally figured out that God's in control. God's in control of our life and everything. And for whatever reason, that journey landed in the Superdome, with the lights out, kind of like this. What happened to the lights, by the way? Stan, I knew you were going to do the little trick, but they didn't tell me it was going to be permanent. It's about how long it lasted, too. I'm going to try to do a lot better than I did after the lights went out in the Superdome. Oh, my God. Can you believe that? Right? We were rolling! Okay, Jacoby takes the thing back, and all I could think of is 29 more minutes. Let's get this thing over with, okay? We're in pretty good shape. And then the lights went out. Now, the other thing I have to say is like nobody's perfect, right? So this journey ended, and it was an amazing faith journey that I just want to kind of share with you a little bit. And then Mike Kensel from the NFL comes over, and he starts explaining things to me, I did lose my poise there a little bit. Are there any lip readers in the house? Denying everything, you know? Oh, man, you know? So, lost it there for a little bit. I thought he deserved it. Mike Hensel, he tells me like he's like the most famous guy in New York now. He's in New York. He says he goes to the grocery store. People are like, you're the guy. You're the guy in the suit that Harbaugh was taking a piece out of your rear end, you know? Yeah, that's me. He's kind of proud of it, I think. But it's amazing what happens, and it's amazing what we went through, and it's amazing what we experienced. It's amazing that what a little bit of faith can do with a bunch of guys on a football team or in life or whatever it is, when guys start caring more about each other than caring about themselves. And it's kind of a crazy thing because football and sports, I mean, you know, it's money and there's a lot of attention and those kind of things that can derail teams. We told our team midway through the season that the one true champion will be crowned. And it will be the team that overcomes adversity better than any other team in the National Football League. It won't be the best team. It won't be the best team on paper. It will be the team that plays the best, okay? The team that plays the best together, and that's what our guys did. And that was the most amazing, wonderful thing. We also got a great coaching job out of our tight ends coach, a guy named Wade Harmon. Now, Wade tells me he's here. Where you at, Wade? Stand up. There he is right there. Wade Harmon. Incredible job. Wade's a strong, quick Christian, and he's in chapel every Sunday before the games. Dennis Pitta, Ed Dixon, and Billy Badgema. Those are his guys. Billy Badgema might be the best Super Bowl story of the whole week, okay? So Billy's just the nicest guy. He's a strong Christian, got a family and everything. I heard a story that Billy, once we got back to the hotel, and I heard, and this is just flying into the New Orleans, I heard we had an injury already. It's like, you're kidding me, what happened? Billy Badgema hurt his head. He might have a concussion. He might be out. I cannot imagine what happened. He hit his head on the doorway coming out of the plane, okay? So I asked Billy, it's a big deal coming out of the plane, right? The cameras are on you. Did you notice we were suited up with ties? Yeah? Looking like we had a little bit of class, okay? Sometimes it's more important how you look. And so I said, Billy, what happened? He goes, yeah, well, he goes, Coach, I was coming off the plane and I thought I ducked low enough, and I just banged my head against the side of the plane. He said, but it was okay. I looked around, and nobody saw me, so it was cool. Like, Billy, there were 100 cameras out there right in front of us. Everybody saw you. Billy played pretty good, though, huh, Wade? He got after people. So just an amazing journey. And I guess what you do is you say, okay, how did it happen? How did we get there? How did we get to this point? And you go back to training camp. You go back to when we first started the season. And we talked to the guys about, the one phrase we used was, the days are long, but the years are short, okay? And all of us who are getting a little older, we can all vouch for that, right? Doesn't time just accelerate, okay? And we talked to our team at times about moments and eternity and all those kind of things. Believe me, these guys are deep thinkers. Football players got to be smart, especially offensive linemen. So Matt Burke and I usually have most of these conversations. But some of the other guys are somewhat interested. And I'll tell you, Ray's a really deep thinker, and Ed Reed and stuff like that. But anyway, so hey man, how does all this stuff work? What's important in life and what really matters, and those kind of things. Those are the kind of things guys talk about. And you experience them in football or any sport, maybe any endeavor that's important to you, your professional life. You experience these things. This is what life is, okay? All right? The day in New England, the moment in New England, the split second in New England when we dropped the game, so to speak. And it's funny, I went back and watched that play after the Super Bowl, or after the New England game, before the Super Bowl, in that 2-week interval, and watched the Lee Evans play. And you know what? He didn't drop that pass. He did not drop that pass. I thought for a year that he dropped it. That ball got knocked out. All right, the player from New England made a great play. All right, that's just what happened. And Billy went out there kind of rushing, tried to make it, and he hit it a little too hard, and he pulled it. That's what happened. And like Ray Lewis said when he got in the locker room, he said, God makes no mistakes. We were devastated. We were like, you at home watching on TV were like, right? Baltimore, it was like silence, okay? What just happened? How do you describe it? How do you explain it? Put your arms around it. We were that close. We were that close. That moment, that split second from the Super Bowl. And we weren't. We were going home. Like an eternity. And we'll live with it. I mean, you live with it forever. Okay, that's what. And then you go back 5 years before. All right, you start getting to know these guys. And we talk to the guys about building a foundation, and that we're going to sink the roots deep. We're not going to build our house on sand. We're going to build it on a foundation of bedrock. We're going to sink the pilings deep in a foundation of bedrock, and we're going to do that every single year. We talked about the Nehemiah story, okay? You all know the Nehemiah story, or some people know the Nehemiah story? All right? It goes back and builds the wall around Jerusalem, around the temple. All right, we're going to build a wall. And when you build a wall, you're going to come under attack. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and there's got to be a lot of cooperation and obedience and courage and strength and all those kind of things. And it's going to take a shovel. But it's also going to take a sword because you're going to come under attack. So we had a shovel and a sword in Oakland in 2009 when we finally made the playoffs, you know. The shovel to do the work and a sword to fend off our enemies. Isn't life like that? You got to do that, man. There are enemies in life. And there is work to be done, okay? So that was going to be important. Talk to them about David's mighty men. And we had great generals on our team. Great people that know how to lead. Guys like Ray, guys like Joe, guys like Ray Rice, who also understand how to follow. You can't be a great leader unless you're a great follower, right? All right, David was a mighty king. He was also a great follower. He's a shepherd. He's following orders. He's out there tending to the flock. All right, it wasn't a very important job, but it was his job. So it was the most important job. And along the way, God taught him how to handle the weapon he was going to need to conquer the biggest enemy in his life. And then there were other enemies in his life too. But what he did was he put together a group of 33 men. And they were his mighty men. He called them his mighty men. You know? Why couldn't our team be mighty men for one another? 53 leaders, 53 mighty men. So we had sweatsuits made up and T-shirts. Guys like sweatsuits and T-shirts. You know? I'll be a mighty man if I get a sweatsuit. Wear with pride. You know? Coaches got sweatsuits too, right? Wade sweatsuit standing there waiting for him every morning. He wears it every single day. You know? And you start taking pride in that kind of stuff. So we had these journeys, man. 2008, we make it to the championship game. And we block a guy out of bounds late. We don't find a way to win the game. A game we really didn't deserve to win, but we could have won. And we weren't in the Super Bowl. Then the next year we go 9-7. We fight our way back in there. And if I recall right, we go to Indianapolis, okay? And we get beat. We got a lot of bad calls in that game, too. Not making it, just saying, as Rex would say. Just saying, you know. Okay, the next year we battle our way back, and I think we went 11-5 maybe the next year, or 12-4. Went 12-4 maybe the next year, and we're good. We got a really good team. Okay, we go to Pittsburgh and we're up 21-7. All right, we're getting after these guys. Yeah, I hear you. It lasts for eternity, right? It never goes away. And we turn the ball over 3 times in the third quarter. We hadn't done that all year. And we lose the game, and our guys are mad, you know, at each other. We're all mad. All right, but we fought our way back. We got past it. We fought our way back. We're going to that 4th year. That was 2011. And we have a good team again. We beat a lot of good teams. We lose to some not so good teams, didn't we? Went on the road. Jay, hey, good, buddy. Good to see you. And we're trying to figure ourselves out. And we beat Houston. We find a way to beat Houston. They're pretty good. Jacoby Jones helped us out, if you remember. Thanks, Jacoby. We didn't have a deal. He did pretty well this year. Didn't you, Ray? Coming back. So we beat Houston. We go to New England and we play a really good game. We fight like crazy. It's so hard to win in New England. Okay, they're good. We fight. Comes right down, and there we are at that moment when Ray says, "God makes no mistakes." And we get on those buses, and it's a 40-minute bus ride down to Providence, and we get on the plane, and we're just trying to figure it out. And I think I got asked right up through the season, you know, "Are you over it yet?" No, I'm never going to get over it. You know, you're never going to get over it. It's okay. You don't need to get over it. You know, 100% pain, 100% moving on to the next, 100% proud of our guys. Because I was so proud, so genuinely in awe of our players in the locker room after that game. And I told a bunch of people after the game, I had a peace that surpasses all understanding. And I knew where that peace came from, and it had been, 30-some years in the making. And God had all those challenges and obstacles and moments with people and the different things and the lessons that had been taught were there for that one moment. So, as a leader, I could walk in that locker room and handle that the right way. In other words, I didn't handle it. God handled it. God spoke through Ray. God spoke through me, our demeanor, and our players. Whatever happened, it was beyond us. You couldn't think of what to say. Who could think of what to say in a moment like that? And we just went right back to work. And then look what happened this year with our team, okay? The days are long, but the years are short. So we go into training camp, and I want you to know, our guys can vouch for it. The days were long in training camp. And we worked. We worked as hard as we've ever worked, okay? You got to work hard to be good, right? You got to start digging, all right? Things don't just happen, all right? The course may be, the final destination may be charted. I'm really not sure how all that works. I do believe God is in control. I think He's driving the car. I think He's got the plans in store for us. He's getting us ready for something glorious, something incredibly glorious He's got in store for us, right? But He expects you to pick up that shovel and go to work. And He expects you to get that sword in your hand and fight off the enemy when you're supposed to, all right? And He's fighting, all right? It's a two-edged sword. It's the Word, okay? And it's everything else, and just things we don't even, I don't claim to understand. But I know one thing, I can get up every morning, I can go to work, okay? And that's what our guys did. And then we had situations. Pernell McPhee loses 3 family members in a 6-month period, all right? 2 of them were murdered, all right? So he goes through that, loses his surrogate father to a heart attack, the man that basically raised him, okay? Other things were going on with different guys. And then we go to play New England Sunday night. We're playing New England, all right? Oh, that's right. That's the one that's been sticking in our craw for about 7 months. We're going to play New England. Get a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning. And you know the call I'm talking about, right? Torrey Smith. Okay, Torrey Smith. So I go down and meet Torrey in the lobby of the hotel, in this little room they had back there, and he's in a bad place. He's just trying to figure it out. And his fiance's coming down, and his brother's coming down, and they got there, and then all of a sudden Torrey's got to be the strong one for his brother. And his fiance was great too. And he's going to get in the car and he's going to drive himself down to go see his mom. Say, no, we got to drive. We'll have someone drive you, Torrey. So he goes down. I don't know if he's going to play or not going to play. He really didn't care. Well, I was kind of hoping he would play. And I don't know why. I just thought he would play, though. In all truthfulness, I really thought he would play. But I didn't know. How do you know? And then he comes back about 4 o'clock for the pregame meal, and he tells me he's going to play. And he goes in the chapel, and I guess they had an unbelievable chapel where they all got in a real tight ring. All the guys in chapel. I go to the Catholic Mass, and so we kind of split it up. So I'm not in the chapel. And they had a tight ring together, and they prayed about it. And then Torrey told me right before the game that he really wasn't sure in the locker room. Okay. So then we go out for pregame, and here comes Torrey, And I was happy that he was going to play, but I just admired him, And I just knew that something powerful was about to happen. You just knew something amazing was going to happen. And then he goes out there and just lights it up, okay, for the whole world to see. The things that God's got in store for us are glorious beyond our wildest dreams, beyond our imagination to even think of them. What's going to happen after this life is over? Who can even imagine these things, right? Oh, the Bible tells us a little bit about it, right? It says it's beyond our ability to even imagine or dream. Can't wait. Well, there's no hurry. But that's going to be cool. But we got some business to tend to. So we go through the rest of the season, and we hit that skid that Stan just couldn't wait to talk about tonight, Stan comes over with the microphone of the Denver game. We all saw it. We're going back down the field. It's about to be 10 to 10. 10 to 7. It's about to be 10 to 7. That's where we haven't scored yet. Boom, 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 right down the field. I'm the one that said, yes, it's my fault. I'm the one that called the play to run up there and run a play real fast, okay? So we run the play real fast. Boom. Took about that fast. And Joe was just running, laying on the ground. And Stan comes over like, Coach! Stan was the other Denver game that was below 0. It was like 60 degrees that day. He's shaking like a leaf. No, Stan, I wasn't real happy with that play. Not exactly what we had planned. And I'm ashamed to admit, we talked in the locker room, talked to our guys about fighting and all that. And you know what? We're not going to win this game. I hate to admit that. I felt right there that we were not going to win that game. third loss in a row after 2 tough overtime losses. But still, in my heart, and I would say the heart of our team, what Stan's talking about, nobody doubted. Nobody. We had a little bit of that, but for the most part, everybody got in that locker room and said, "Hey, everything is still in front of us. Every goal, everything that we want, everything we aspire to, is still right there in front of us. We can accomplish anything. Okay? It's only going to make it more glorious. It's only going to be more apparent." I'm talking about the Christian guys. We're talking about this. It's only going to be more clear that no man can take the credit for what's going to happen. That's what Anquan Boldin was talking about, okay? Matter of fact, we started texting back verses. And one of the ones that came about was Joshua chapter 1. The whole Joshua book is kind of amazing. But Joshua chapter 1 talks about, I read it, and I texted it to Anquan, and Anquan knew it right away because he'd been reading it, okay? And it was, basically, it says this. It says, Joshua's about to face overwhelming odds, right, with his army, okay? And it says, be strong and courageous, right? And what does it say right after that? It said, be very strong and courageous. And then later it goes on to say, be strong and courageous. That's a command, right? That's what God calls us to do, man. There's a certain toughness that goes with that. Because the victory is going to be yours. And the other thing it's in chapter 1, it says be obedient to the last letter of the instruction of the command. Be obedient, okay? Whatever that means. So we shared that with our team, and it was kind of from a coaching perspective is what it was. Be strong and courageous and be obedient. What does that mean? Be obedient to what you're supposed to do. Do your job as well as you possibly can. If your job is to reach block the 3 technique, then take the right footwork and reach block the 3 technique, put your head in your hands where they're supposed to be, get yourself in a good fit pattern or pad, and knock that guy off the ball. That's your job. Be obedient to that. You don't need to be concerned with what the wide receiver's doing or what the quarterback's doing. Is that your job? Did God say, or did anybody say to you that you need to complete the pass for a touchdown? But so many times we want to get wrapped up, don't we? In everybody else's job. Right? It must be somebody else's fault. And what we forget to do is our own job. And we told our guys, the only thing you're going to be asked to do is your job. And that's the one you will be held responsible for. All right? But our guys already knew that. It's not something we had to change. Our guys were already thinking that way. Jim Caldwell helped too, by the way. That was good. That was a powerful thing. Jim and Joe had a great relationship, but so did Jim and Cam. All right, and there's 2 sides to every story. And Cam Cameron is a great man. Cam Cameron helped us get to where we were at that point. He had sunk the pilings deep, part of that foundation. And he'll be a part of this championship as much as Jim or Joe or anybody that's part of that whole thing, okay? But that was the way it was supposed to go. For whatever reason, it was there. I just knew that was the thing that was supposed to happen. And Cam and said he agreed, okay? And that's, to me, God works that way, okay? So when things happen in God's time, blow out the Giants, right? And all of a sudden we start looking like we're supposed to look, okay? It's like, I'm thinking, if we can get hot here in the playoffs, we got a chance. If Joe gets hot here in the playoffs, we got a chance. We get our defensive guys back, we can start playing defense the way we're supposed to play it, we got a chance. So we go to play the Colts. Well, we played the Bengals. We rested some guys. Our guys played their hearts out. And then we go play the Bengals or the Colts. And everybody's saying the Colts had all the, do you remember? They all know what? The mojo. Yeah. The mojo. Colts got the mojo. That's what all the talking heads were saying. I'm like, what's mojo? I've heard of mojo. Told our team, they can have all the mojo they want. All right? They got to stand up in front of us, in front of the Ravens, and in front of what our team is about. And what we're playing for. Oh yeah, and Ray's going to be back too. That's going to be pretty cool. That's going to help. Remember the thing he had on his elbow there? Trying to catch that pass? We did make fun of him for that. Yep. And then he went out there and took this at the end of the game. Right? What did he do? He did the little, I can't do it. I'm not even going to tell you. I can't do it. Okay? What a moment. What a moment. Yeah, but there's a lot there too because Chuck Pagano was on the other side, okay? Chuck Pagano. Man, we loved. Our players loved. We love Chuck. He's one of us. Look what he accomplished. Look what his team had been through, all right? And he battled and beat cancer, okay, throughout the course of the season. And there he was standing there, and you walk over and there's a hug, okay? I mean, there's adversity. There's all kind of, there's so many strands being weaved together in our lives that just all just come together for the perfect will of God, that you just got to stand back and go, oh my. Whether you win or whether you lose, whether it's a year ago, whether it's this year, okay? Then we go to Denver, okay? There's no way we're going to beat Denver. I promise you. The coaches, the fans in Denver, they were everybody, and they should have been. They were a great football team. They were very confident before that game. And our guys walked out there, and it was cold. Stan was shivering before the game. For a good reason, right? It was below zero wind chill. And we were ready to play. And so we're back and forth in a battle. We punt a ball, and it blows all the way across the field. And that little guy, Trendon Holiday, goes like that. And it was a touchdown, just like that. We're okay. We can overcome this. You know? Ray had talked the night before about no weapon. Isaiah chapter 54. No weapon forged against us shall prevail. Okay, that was kind of the thing going into that game. So it's a weapon forged against us. It will not prevail. And then we're in a battle. We're in a dogfight back and forth. And we go in at halftime. I think it's 21-21, right? And we get in the locker room, and Ray calls the whole team up right at the end. He goes, I got something I need to say. And he recited probably 4 or 5 verses right around 54. It's toward the end of chapter 54. And all those verses right around, and he recites them. And he just said, no matter what, stay together. No weapon forged against us in the second half shall prevail. He didn't mention the 5th quarter or the 6th quarter. I asked him at the overtime, does that count? The overtime count in that? Oh, yeah, we're covered. We're good. So we go in at halftime, and the ball gets kicked off, and we were supposed to squib it. Tucker, wherever you're at right now, it was supposed to be a squib kick. But that's okay. He lofts it right up in there. We'll cover it. And I heard Suggs back there. He wasn't quoting any scripture. So he says something along the lines of, so it's going to be this kind of game, all right? You know, and basically whatever it takes, it's going to be all right. But our guys just fought, you know, they just fought like crazy. And so it's 35-28 with 39 seconds left in the game on our own, 30-yard line or so. Flacco drops back to pass. He steps up. He scrambles to the right. He lets it fly. And I'm standing there on the sideline, and I'm like, what are you doing, Joe? You know, all we need, I figure we get 2 completions. We get down within a little bit to 30. We got a chance at the end zone. We got time for that, right? I know we had no timeouts, but we've been practicing this. There it goes. Then I just looked, and I saw the safety was out of position. You know. And all of a sudden, the sideline starts moving out onto the field, so I got to move out of the field to see. You know? And he catches it. And they fall down. And my thing fell off. Is this going to work? This going to work? I'll just use this right here. So they fell down, and he runs into the end zone. And Jacoby didn't dance. That was a miracle also. He didn't dance. He is Dancing with the Stars. I'm not real happy about it. Everybody said I was fine with it. I wasn't fine with it. I hope they knock him out in the first round. Hope for somebody else. Let's get back to football. I saw him today. I think he'll be okay. He'll be fine. But and he can dance. So it's tied. So now we're going into overtime. Okay? And it goes back and forth, back and forth. Next thing you know, we're on our own 3-yard line. Do you remember that? On our own 3-yard line. You saw the game, huh? It's 3rd and 13. I mean, and the wind's at their back. If we don't get this first down, we're going to punt another one up to Trendon Holiday, okay? And they're going to probably be in field goal range right away. And they're probably going to take a knee and have a chance to kick the field goal, get a couple plays down in there. All right, defense, let's go. Let's force a punt here, you know? And then Joe hits Dennis Pitta, Wade, hits him right up the seam. And Wade's coaching takes over. Dennis goes back shoulder, bam, makes the catch. And then we ran a couple plays. I don't know if we got another first down or not. And then that punt team runs out there. All right? The punt team that had given up the touchdown. The same bunch of guys that had given up the kickoff return. They go running on the field. I was confident. Completely confident in those guys. And Sam just booms it, right? 60 plus yards, booms it. And then Jimmy Smith, okay? Jimmy Smith, God love Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith is going to be a great player. But Jimmy was not in a good place. Okay, he'd be the first to tell you for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Because he's coming off double sports hernia surgery. That's really painful. All right, and he was really mad because he wasn't playing corner, but he was playing special teams. He had to go out there and run 45 yards at a full sprint, cold, and it hurt. And he thought it wasn't helping his recovery. This is the week before the Denver game. He and I are in my office discussing this, like two men, you know? And we came to an agreement. He was going to play special teams. Get out of here. And you're going to do it well. And he runs down there and makes that tackle inside the 10-yard line. Huh? And how well did he play in the Super Bowl 2 weeks later, right? Yeah. That was not holding. Okay? Yeah. But, so he makes the play. All right, then Peyton completes a pass, I think, out to the seam, and then Paul Kruger flushes him out to our left. And Corey Graham is a great, great player. And Corey Graham makes the interception, and we're almost in field goal range, right? And it's still, now we're not going to the wind at that point, and it's definitely getting below zero, and the wind's starting to pick up, and the field's like frozen solid. And then the quarter ends, all right? And then our kicking coach, Randy Brown, and our kicker run out there and practice the kick. That's okay. You're allowed to do that. I don't think you'll be allowed to do it next year. That's going to change probably. So somehow Ray Rice breaks free offensive line, and then he's just not going to quite get the first down. And here comes Marshall Yonder, right, just plowing in behind there. You're allowed to do that too. He pushes him across for the first down. We get a couple more plays, get about 5 more yards, and we are in field goal range. And there goes the rookie. And the field is pretty much sloppy and frozen. All right? And he goes out there and knocks that thing straight through. And I was arm in arm with Ray Rice. Anybody remember what I did with Ray at that point? You know, what a moment. What a moment. And that locker room afterwards was incredible. Steve Bisciotti sent a text. They actually sent a text. You probably saw it. He sent a text during the game about how proud he was of the team. And it wasn't contingent on winning and losing. See, that was what was so incredible. You know, that was. It's all interweaved in there. Somebody's going to figure this all out someday. It's all twined in there. It's not the outcome that we're talking about. It's the journey. It's the way you handle it. It's the way you handle one. It's the way you treat one another through all that. That's the victory, right? The victory's already been won. All right? In this room, we understand what that means. All right? The victory's already been won. All right? What's our role in this thing? What's our fight? You know? What's our job? What are we supposed to become? You know? The one true champion. Okay? The one true champion that we're meant to be, perhaps. That's what Fellowship of Christian Athletes is all about. All right? Helping people discover the meaning of life. All right? Why we are even here. If somebody's got a better explanation than Christianity, I haven't heard it yet. All right? And I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist. Matter of fact, I'm quite certain it doesn't exist. All right? Intellectually, it makes perfect sense if you think about it. If you really think about it, how else could it be? All right? You're going to tell me all this was created just out of that? That takes a little bit of faith to believe that. I don't have that faith. All right? Okay, so you try to figure all this stuff out. And now we're going back to New England. Wow. And we told the team, Jim Caldwell's idea. He had used it a couple years before, and I thought it was great. He said, tell them before the Denver game. Tell them if we beat Denver, we're going to the Super Bowl. I said, okay, I'll try. Guys, if we beat Denver, we're going to the Super Bowl. All right, now we had to prove it. But you know what? I believed it. And every one of our guys believed it. Every one of our guys believed it. We were going to the Super Bowl. We just had one thing to take care of on the way. All right, it was up in Foxborough. We'd been there before. And that plane touches down on Saturday before the game, you know, and the buses pull up there, and you got into the buses, and it was, the days are long, but the year was short. That's what went through my mind. That was just yesterday when we pulled into that same airfield and got on those same buses and went to that same hotel to go to that same stadium. It was yesterday. But look how far we had come down the road that we were supposed to travel. Here we were, right back to that same crossroads. Are you kidding me? Who writes this stuff? You wouldn't believe it. If it was a movie, would you believe it? Would you believe the story of the Baltimore Ravens if it was on Disney? Remember the Titans and the Giants and all the little Giants and whatever? You know, I'm like, oh yeah, well yeah, I guess that's a great story, but that could never happen. I'm telling you, man, God writes the most amazing stories that could ever be. And here we were, and our guys knew it. Our guys just knew it. We were going to win that game. We go out there, and then Bill says, he goes, you know, well, maybe we should just skip the handshake after the game, you know. And, you know, he's a great guy. It's just got his way of making sure that we have a good handshake after the game. So I'm like, well, Coach, I don't know, man. Maybe we should. I think we can handle it. I think we'll both be okay. You know, I'm kind of saying, I'll be okay, Coach, if you win the game. I'm pretty sure he expected to win the game. In my mind, I'm thinking, are you going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? You know? Because I'm coming over to shake your hand. And he was brilliant. He was great. So yeah, so we're gonna get after these guys, okay? First half, Stan comes over. How's it going, Coach? What did you say? I can't remember your question. You know.
He said, "You gotta be pleased. You played this bad. And you're this close."
That's exactly what he said. You gotta be pleased. You played this bad. It's this close. It was like a light bulb went off my head. I think that's the halftime speech right there. So we walk in at halftime, and our guys were legitimately really ticked off. They were ticked off at themselves, and they were ticked off at one another, and it was not the best locker room halftime we've had all year, all right? And I talked to Coach Caldwell at the end of the second quarter about opening it up a little bit. You know, we've been playing a pretty straight-laced, you know, kind of a field